Hello guys, welcome to Brazilian Literature Channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the first part of Brazilian modernism movement. It was a group of vanguards in diverse arts fields, such as painting, poetry, and literature. The vanguards were trying to construct of what would be a Brazilian conscience. For this to happen, essentially the movement had to be destructive and outdate everything that came before. It was characterized by trying to define positions, and it was rich in manifests and ephemeris circulation magazines. This period was the most radical one, as the necessity to break through old structures from the past. And if we are going to talk about Brazilian modernism, first we need to talk about Mário de Moraes Andrade. He was born in São Paulo on October 9th of 1893 and died in São Paulo on February 25th of 1945. He was a poet, romancist, musicologist, historian, art critic, and photographer, a prodigy pianist. Mário begins his artistic career as a musician. He graduated in music at Dramatic and Musical Conservatory in São Paulo, received only musical formal education, but was self-taught in history, arts, and especially in poetry. He became a teacher of music history in that conservatory. Even if he wrote poetry all the time, he didn't want to be professional until his pianist career became unviable. His contact with literature began with periodic critics in magazines and news. In 1917, published his first poem book, There is Blood in Each Poem, with pseudonym Mário Sobral. He kept in parallel his poems a meticulous job of documentation about history, the people, its culture, especially from Brazilian countryside, accumulating information about the life and Brazilian folklore. Together, Oswald de Andrade and others, he initiated the Modern Art Week in 1922, where it became noticed. With notorious public, Mário practically created the Brazilian modern poetry and published Pauliceia Desvairada, his first book that he exerted a huge influence in modern Brazilian literature. He was the central figure of the São Paulo vanguard movement for 20 years. A trained musician and most known as a poet and romancist, Andrade were personally involved in practically every discipline related to the modernism in São Paulo, becoming national polymath of Brazil. Mário was the center of Modern Art Week. In 1927, after years, he published To Love and Transitive Verb, his first romance. And in 1928, he published one of his most known books named Macunaíma, A Hero Without Honor. These are his most known writings. He has around 30 completed writings during his life. In 1928, a Brazilian poet dropped a bomb on the Western art world. His manifesto didn't ask for permission. It didn't imitate Paris or Berlin. It said, "We will eat you." This was the Anthropophagic Manifesto, and its message was pure genius. Europeans brought their futurism, expressionism, Dadaism, and surrealism to Brazil, but instead of copying them, Brazilians would digest them, absorb their strengths, spit out the rest, and create something entirely new. Welcome to the story of Mário de Andrade, Oswald de Andrade, Tarsila do Amaral, and how they turned Brazilian art into the ultimate rebel. Let's rewind. Europe in the 1910s and 20s was on fire, literally and artistically. Futurism from Italy, the love for speed, machines, destruction of the grammar. Marinetti said, "Place nouns at random, like they're born." Mário de Andrade borrowed that chaos for his poem Ode to the Bourgeois, with lines like bourgeois nickel and man buttocks. Yes, really. He took from the expressionism in Germany a lot of pain, horror, and the post-war trauma. Mário's novel To Love in Transitive Verb, an intimate book with a raw feeling, drastically human. Dadaism from Zurich and Paris with its radical nonsense, anti-art, anti-everything. Oswald de Andrade's poem Maturity uses ready-made language, a Dadaism trick. Inspired from the Surrealism movement from France, the studies of dreams, automatic writing, the unconscious. The Brazilians loved the freedom, but they didn't want to lose themselves in Europe's shadow. They want something from their own. Mario and Oswald saw all of this, and they said, "Beautiful. Now give us your liver." Here's the persuasion part, the idea that changed everything. Oswald de Andrade and Mario de Andrade were part of the Group of Five, with the painters Tarsila do Amaral and Anita Malfatti, also the writer Menotti del Picchia. They organized the Week of Modern Art in 1922 because they were tired of Brazil being a cultural colony. Tupi or not Tupi? That is the question. That's the most famous line from the Anthropophagic Manifest. Oswald is rewriting Shakespeare, but with indigenous Brazilian philosophy. The Tupi people ate their enemies to absorb their power. So Oswald said, let's do that with European culture. No imitation, no rejection, but ingestion. You want futurism? We'll take your love of machines, but we will mix it with our forests. You want surrealism? We'll take automatic writing, but we will have a Brazilian accent. Mario de Andrade was the engine behind the scenes. He wrote thousands of letters to Manuel Bandeira, Carlos Drummond de Andrade, and over 1,100 people. He called it epistolar gigantism. These weren't just friendly notes. They were essays, critiques, confessions, manifestos in disguise. Through letters, Mario theorized Brazilian modernism. He was obsessive, proud, vulnerable, and completely dedicated. But here's the drama. In 1929, Mario and Oswald had a brutal falling out. Oswald made jokes about Mario's sexuality, and Mario never forgave him. Two geniuses, one broken friendship. Art kept going, but the pain stayed. So why should you care about two Brazilian writers from 100 years ago? Because the Anthropophagic Manifesto invented a strategy that every artist today needs: a selective digestion. Don't copy what's trendy, don't reject the outside world. Eat it, break it down, turn it into your own blood. In a globalized world where everyone sounds the same, the anthropophagic attitude is a superpower. It's how you stay original, how a country like Brazil, or a creator like you, takes the best of everywhere and make it yours. Mario de Andrade and Oswald de Andrade weren't just rebels. They were culture chefs. And what were their recipe? Swallow the new, keep your roots, and never, ever ask for permission. If you want more stories of Brazilian literature, give us the thumbs up, share the content, and consider subscribe.